Welcome back, everybody. And this is To Your Greatness with Dawn Mathis. And I have a guest that I have the pleasure of introducing for a second time on this podcast. Her name is Teri Ward, and she did a previous segment with us and shared with us about loss and love and living again. So if you have not heard that podcast, I highly recommend that you give that a listen. Today, we're going to talk about something near and dear to my heart that I really haven't made as a super, let's just say it's not yet a habit. It's something that I aspire to make a habit, and I'm working on that and getting better every day. But it's meditation. And I know some of you out there are like me saying, I can't stop for 5 minutes to meditate because I just don't have enough time in the day. And, we all have the same amount of time in our day, and it's what we give our attention to and what we make a priority in our life. That's what we're going to do. So join me in listening to what Teri has to say. I'm going to give you a bio. It's a little bit different than the last one because the topic is different. It's the same person, same life. And Teri has been meditating for over 30 years. And so this is going to tell you about how old she is. She began in her 20s when she was introduced to meditation by a yoga instructor that she had. And as is very common, she committed to a daily practice for a period and then would stop, and then it would be a while before she picked it up again, but she picked it up again. So for those of you like me, I guess it's like riding a bike. You cannot do it for a while and pick it back up. It's very forgiving. So in the past decade, she has had a consistent practice and has done several silent retreats and began study with someone named Tara Brach and Jack Cornfield of Insight Meditation. And she's working on becoming a certified meditation teacher, and she will complete the course in early 2023. In her training, and this is what I'm especially interested in because I love acronyms, she's being taught the RAIN, R-A-I-N technique, which is an excellent way to look at situations in our lives and in your life with a loving awareness. And we will be learning more about that in this podcast from Teri. So Teri, welcome to the podcast again.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're so glad to have you. So let's start at the beginning. Can you tell us what is meditation exactly?
That is what I think keeps so many people from actually practicing meditation, is that they think meditation is something where you have to sit in a certain position and you have to do it in a certain way. And that is not really what meditation is at all. You can meditate anywhere. You can, because meditation truly is having awareness in the moment. And so some people like to have an anchor. A lot of people use breath as an anchor, but it can be, I don't know if you've ever heard of Yoga Nidra, but I love Yoga Nidra, and it's a body scan. And there's several forms of body scans that are numerous forms that you can do. So meditation is just being aware of what you're doing in the moment. So you could be eating an apple and you're just aware of the apple. You're aware of the sensation of holding the apple. You're aware of the smell of the apple, and perhaps the apple has a stem or perhaps it doesn't. You just notice you're really present with what you're doing. And then you take that bite of an apple and you feel your teeth have, it's hard, that first bite going through the skin. You notice that. And then you notice all the juice in your mouth and you salivate. And so that whole process, that is a meditation. So meditation is not just sitting. And again, another reason a lot of people feel like I hear I can't do meditation or I can't meditate. And what the person is implying in that a lot of times is that they think they're supposed to be able to sit and not think. And you would have to be an enlightened one, almost the Buddha, to be able to do that. Most humans are going to be continuing to have thoughts. So even if you're sitting and you're breathing and you're paying attention, breathing in, breathing out, you're still thinking, right? You're thinking, I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. It's just that your focus is very directed. And so when another thought comes through, oh, that breath was too short, I wanted to have a longer breath, you just let it go. I think of thoughts as like clouds. You see them, they come, you let them go. Where I think that people, and I know where I'll just speak for my own experience, but where I had a difficult time in the beginning was, I am a planner. I am a doer. And so to sit and be focusing on my breath, because that's what I use as an anchor most of the time is my breath. And then I would sit and I'd go, did I turn the coffee pot off? I need to get that laundry done. I should have started the laundry before I sat down. And just all of these thoughts go through. But the practice of meditation is allowing those to go through, just letting them go, a thought. And one of the techniques I used at first a lot that was very helpful was to label thoughts. Oh, planning. That thought was planning, or remembering. It's something I wanted to have done yesterday, and I didn't get done. So it could be remembering. It could be even something like a loving thought. A thought of someone comes up for you, and it's like, oh, loving thought. Loving experience. So sometimes for some people, but yeah, if you're thinking that even after you've practiced for months and years, you still have thoughts come through, and that's part of practice.
Sure. Well, I'm very interested in the apple eating thing, that part, because what you're telling me and telling maybe those people like me who are like, I don't know if I can do this. And, I'm like you, I'm a doer, I'm a planner, and my brain is constantly going. But when you were talking about focusing on the act of something like eating an apple, what that sounds like to me is mindfulness.
It is mindfulness.
Are they linked?
They're the same.
Are mindfulness and meditation linked?
I consider them to be the same. Not just linked, but the same.
Okay.
Now you can have what some people think of as meditation. They are only encompassing what we call a formal practice. So you have a time, you sit, and again, I used to think you had to sit cross-legged on a cushion. You don't. You can sit on your sofa. You can sit in your bed. If you have, let's say you're going into an important meeting and you can sit in your car. Just breathe for a few minutes and just allow the breath to bring you back into your body. A lot of people call it embodied meditation, when your focus is really to feel your breath and slow yourself down if you're, kind of having crazy thoughts. But mindfulness of eating is a form of meditation. Thich Nhat Hanh made walking meditation very popular. And so you're actually just walking slowly and being very mindful of the movement, of the sensation. And he would often direct students to think, lift, move, place. Lift, move, place. So you're actually that connected to each step that you're taking. That's called. And then there's standing meditation. There's meditation where you do exercises. The word meditation encompasses mindfulness and awareness and just being present.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Well, one meditation type, and I told you I love acronyms, and you had mentioned to me in a previous conversation the RAIN meditation, RAIN, and I was wondering if you could talk to us about that.
Happy to. I love RAIN myself, and the acronym stands for recognize, allow, investigate, and I go with the newer N, which is nurture. Originally, when RAIN was kind of introduced, the N stood for non-identify. So the concept of non-attachment to the thoughts or the situation that your practice is focused on. Tara Brach has come up with changing that to nurture, because after you've gone through the process, what you're doing is you're just holding this process, this thought, or this situation that you've done the RAIN technique on, in a very loving kindness way. So let me give you a really quick, just really short. So I love to use traffic because traffic drives us all nuts. And it's, sometimes I think you do have to be a monk or a saint to drive in traffic. I'm not talking, going to the grocery store. I'm talking about the really kind of crazy traffic that we can get into. I always think of, if you're from the Denver area, the 36, I-25, 36 getting on 270 or I-25 split. And people aren't sure which lane to be in, that kind of, and where you're going, right? Because you're being mindful. So you know your path and you're just calmly going down, but people are going like this in front of you sometimes. And so just, again, all you want to do is of course, you do not close your eyes. Some people like to meditate with their eyes closed. But if you're out in traffic or if you're out walking around even, you don't have to close your eyes. So you're sitting in your car and just having the awareness, oh, I'm in traffic and the traffic is moving quickly and people are adjusting lanes, and breathe. And if you feel like if your shoulders are coming up, relax your shoulders and let them go down. If your hands are gripping the steering wheel or if you're tempted to take them off to symbolize your feelings, leave them on. Lighten your grip, because having a tight grip on a car does not help. So that is a form of meditation. But the RAIN technique comes in that you've recognized, right? Oh, I'm getting tense. My breathing is shallow. I'm the word jerk might be coming into my consciousness about people around me. And you go, oh, I don't need. So you say, oh, okay, that's what I was doing. So you've recognized the embodiment of where you are. You've recognized the consciousness of what's going on. then you want to just allow and go, oh, wow, look at that. Let traffic get to me again. And just accept the fact that you're a human being, and for most of us, traffic is a stressful situation. So you've just allowed it. But then the I for investigate, you can have the awareness of, I wonder what brought that up for me today, in this moment. Is it that I'm already behind? Am I feeling rushed myself because I didn't give myself enough time, or something happened and the situation changed for me? I'd given myself plenty of time, but maybe back up the road, there was a traffic jam and you sat for a while. So you just kind of investigate why. What do you think has come to your attention? What is the purpose of that? And just try to, again, just without judgment, don't say, oh, I shouldn't be so upset in traffic. That isn't helpful for any of us when we should ourselves. It doesn't help. So just say, okay, I've had this feeling. And a lot of times in this situation, maybe nothing major will come up. Maybe it's just that you were running behind, or maybe you have plenty of time, but you had an expectation that things were going to be different. I know when I am on here in north of Denver on C470 or E470, I expect there to be little, if any, traffic. And so when you get on and for some reason there's a lot of traffic, I'm like, whoa, I'm paid for this. I had this expectation it wasn't going to be like that. So maybe that's what comes up for you is, what you're really doing is just being very conscious, very aware, mindful, whichever word you like, of what's happened in your body and letting go. You can let go of that, or maybe not. That's what the allowing is. Maybe you can't let go of it. Maybe you're so uptight about other things going on in your life that you can't. So you just allow it. Say, oh, I still feel that way. Okay. And then that's when the end comes in and you nurture yourself. You're compassionate. Oh, yeah, that happened. That happened again. I was upset in traffic. I may have given the signal to someone that I was unpleasantly, associating with them, or I was calling them names. I have the awareness that my word is jerk. I call people that in traffic. I would never call a human a jerk without being in the confines of my car, or I don't think I would. So it's like, okay, I did it again. Not the way I would, not my highest self in this moment, but it's okay.
Right. Right.
So, but rain,
So,
go ahead.
So it sounds like some of the things we've talked about before on other podcasts is rain is like noticing what you're noticing, but noticing what you're noticing about your body and your feelings around a situation. And then investigating, you're being curious. Mm-hmm. I'm curious what set this off for me. And then the nurturing, you're just casting a kind glance on something that maybe, like you said, wasn't your the highest version of yourself. And you know that you'll live to do it again. But maybe in the recognizing, maybe we notice that we're getting better. Like maybe we're only sending one signal to that jerk driver instead of all the way down the highway for 3 miles or something. I mean, is that part of it too, that you can notice that in subsequent times that you're getting better?
And you might even, if you're in mindfulness as you're driving along, you might notice wow, it's not bothering me at all today. That's great. And then you might want to put some of the investigative step in there and go, what have I done differently today? That, maybe I gave myself more time. Maybe I'm going to something I'm really excited about. And so I'm not nervous or anxious in any way.
Right.
What I love about rain, though, is it's often nowadays used in therapeutic situations, not usually by meditation teachers, but by actual therapists, of using it, allowing the person time to get grounded. So taking a few minutes of silent focus on your breathing, or just focus on your body sensations, closing your eyes, really getting in tune. And then what is it? Using the rain technique to really investigate some major issue that's going on. So you have something big in your life. And I'll just pick something. Dealing a relationship in your life that you're dealing with. And it's really causing you a lot of stress, anxiety. You want the other person to behave differently, which of course we don't control. But so instead of talking about it and trying to parse out, what is really going on, in therapeutic situations now, therapists are just having the person do the same thing. How's my body feeling? Where in my body am I feeling that, whatever feelings? And then really allowing that. I mean, let's say in this situation, you're really angry at a person. You're really angry at someone. And so allow to sit in that. And then, because a lot of times what happens when we allow the current emotion, feelings to be with acceptance and without judgment, what we find out is that's a surface layer. And then underneath, you might feel very hurt or betrayed, or, so there's other underlying feelings that once you've allowed the anger or whatever the situation is to be there, then you go deeper. And then when in that situation, let's say you're really hurt or you feel very betrayed, then you start investigating what was the situation that you felt betrayed about? How did that come about? And so that aspect of it is more like your traditional therapy, where you're talking about the situation itself, you're investigating, but you're also still investigating. When I see that person's face, I don't even have to be in the same room. When I think about that person's face comes into my mind, I feel. And then it's like you might feel constricted, or you might feel tense, or, there's the different things. And so you really investigate how you're embodying the situation. And then you nurture again, and as I think you've talked about prior, is it's like, for me, rain isn't a one-time thing. You might go through the situation several times until you really get to what the underneath embedded kind of feeling is, and can allow that to release. Or you might not release it, it might take a long time to release it.
Wow. Well, it sounds like something that we all could use on a regular basis, probably not just with traffic, but you're right, with relationships, with work situations. For those on the podcast that are still working, or doing something even as a creative expression or volunteer work or whatever.
Exactly.
I see how this could be a wonderful way to be compassionate with ourselves and get in touch with ourselves. Because a lot of my clients are like, I'm not in touch with my body. I'm not in touch with my feelings. I just have this overall sense of, is this all there is? Or I don't feel cared about. And, and it starts with us. And this RAIN, it's going to be easier to remember that it's an acronym. That's probably why I like it, because I can remember RAIN. And I love that. And just the whole thing about RAIN is that it makes everything new again.
Right.
So I like the connection with water or rain, and how everything's fresh and green afterwards, that we can also make ourselves fresh and green again by caring for ourselves in this way of mindfulness and meditation. Thank you for that. I wanted to just shift.
I was just going to say, if anyone in your audience is interested in this and wants to learn even more, Teri Ward wrote a book called Radical Compassion. And maybe you could put that in the podcast notes. Radical Compassion.
Radical Compassion.
That it is.
And Tara Brach is Tara, and then Brach.
And the book is all about RAIN.
Yes.
That's the whole book is just about the RAIN technique. So it's a real good resource.
Wonderful.
For
Thank
that.
you.
And
Thank
what
you for that.
I like to keep things fun. And so if I'm doing just a little RAIN, something like the traffic example, I call it a sprinkle. It's not a full-on RAIN. It's just a little sprinkle.
So just sprinkle on yourself today. All right. I love it. I love that. So I want to shift gears on this part of the podcast, Teri, because you had mentioned that you have gone on some silent retreats. And like meditation, that sounds like, I can't even imagine not talking for a whole weekend. But can you tell us what it is and what you do on a silent retreat?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And I can understand, because I had that same thoughts when I learned. I had wanted to do them for a long time, but then when I learned I had to do some before I got into the training program I'm in, the teacher certification program. And I was like, okay. And I asked a few people because, Dawn, and for your audience, I am one of those people that I talk to myself aloud in my home. And so the idea of
no. So you can't even do that. You're not even allowed to talk to yourself out loud.
No,
okay.
No. Yeah. And so that was, and it depends. Each retreat is different. But if it's called a silent retreat, you're not going to be able to speak for the whole period of time. And you said a weekend. Most of the ones I've done are 6-day or 7-day retreats. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And if I can do it,
I would be in withdrawal.
If I can do it, anyone can do it. I promise you, anyone can do it, because I do. I just chatter aloud. Oh. And I was also surprised because in the ones I've done, they take your cell phone. So you can't, no technology of any kind, no books. And also there's Vipassana ones by Goenka. If you do one of his style, there's no yoga. You can do walking, but you're very limited to where you walk. You can't just walk anywhere on the property. Usually it's a path that you can go back and forth on. And the intent of it is to really just get rid of all that stuff that goes on within us and outside of us that we're so distracted by. I know my kids, and they're in their 30s, so they're not young kids. I have to ask them to put their cell phones aside for a meal. We're going to sit down and have dinner, and they've got their cell phones sitting right next to them. And so I have said, no, put them in the bowl over there, and we can't have. So this is a retreat, and you wake early, usually, and you sit and have a time of meditation prior to breakfast. Then you eat in silence. You just go through the line and take what you want. If you're in person, right? In the last year and a half, they've all been virtual. So it's a little different if you're doing a virtual one because you're in your home, right? And if you have family in your home, then they're usually more lenient as far as you can talk to your family for a certain period, but you want to be very mindful and only speak when you really, it's very necessary. And then you meditate again for a period. And some meditations are guided meditations where the person is talking. And some meditations are no one saying, it's just a period of silence. And then you have, lunch, and then you'll have a teaching. And so then you'll have a period of time, might be 45 minutes, might be an hour and a half, a period where you're sitting and you're listening to the teacher who's leading it on whatever topic. Because silent retreats can be on so many different topics. There's a man, Mark Coleman, who lives in Marin County, California, and he comes out here to Colorado and he does nature silent retreats. So you're out and you're walking a lot. You're not just sitting inside, and you're sitting outside a good bit. So you have these, it's just so many different opportunities. But then you'll have, so you'll have your 3 meals, usually a day. You'll have periods of silence, total silence, periods of teaching. And then almost every retreat has, if it's a week long, you're going to have 1 or 2 times when you go and you do talk. You talk to your assigned teacher. And so you can ask questions. And I got more and more deeply involved in meditation when I do triathlon, when my triathlon coach became a mindfulness teacher and was telling me all about her training, how it went, and had us really focusing when we were on the bike on, just like, how do I feel? What are my, arms doing? What are my shoulders doing? How are my hips sitting? Are my hip bones on the seat? And just really doing like a body scan as we're riding. And that helped me so much to stay really focused and in the right position and all that. So, but a silent retreat, it can be, you can do a 2-day or a 3-day. I know people who have done months, like 3 months, 6 months of silent retreat. And I have not yet attempted that. I think I would rather do a more guided retreat if I was going to be doing a month or more. But I'm sure I would learn more and more and more about myself if I could do a month or a 3-month or 6-month silent retreat.
Wow. Well, I'm not sure I'll ever do one, but I might. I actually did a day at a church retreat once, and it was pretty tough. So, but it was neat because there was only so many ways you can communicate, and it did. I mean, I could feel myself going deeper inside myself because I couldn't do anything outside myself per se. And I think I could see where you would go deeper within at an experience like that. One more question for you, Teri, and again, appreciate your time. Why why did you decide to commit the 2 years and the financial investment to become a meditation teacher?
Well, as you know,
Just curious.
I was going to say I have been involved in life coaching now for 3-4 years, and one of the things that, and then through the grief work I'm doing, I've noticed that people, and I think you even mentioned it, people can find it difficult to embody, to even know, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? Mm-hmm. What am I feeling?
Yeah.
And am I tense? Am I anxious? And so I wanted to learn more about meditation because I think it's a great way for people to have greater awareness. For you to notice what you're noticing, you have to be inwardly turn. You have to turn inwardly and say, what am I noticing? Mm-hmm. Where has my attention been for the last 5 minutes, much less the last day, right? So I am a person that loves to learn. I love to learn new things, and I felt by 2 years to me was a significant period of time to focus on this and to get the teachings, because we get it's Zoom, but we get teachings every month. We have reading that we do every month. We have meetings with a mentor every month, and then our peer group that meets every month. And so it's a significant amount of time commitment each month over the 2 years. And to me, I felt that I would have a true, deep understanding of the work by then. As you know, investing your finances, making a financial investment in a course, you're more likely to stick with it, right? You're more likely, and it can be what you consider a large amount or you consider a smaller amount, but saying I'm going to pay for this and make an investment, and then this research shows you're more likely, right, to stick with it. Because certainly I could have,
absolutely,
I could have just done my own research, read books on my own and do all that. But by making the investment and taking the time to show up, for all the meetings and everything that goes on each month, I've really gotten more and more deeply involved and committed to the work.
Yeah. Well, and we know by being life coaches that, you can give someone a book and pat them on the butt and tell them to go do independent study. But we know that the triangle of success includes a mentor coach. And so hence the cost. And you're right. If you're investing your own skin in the game, you're much more likely to do the work. Absolutely. I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said, the person who empties their wallet to better themselves and to learn has invested wisely. So I truly believe that. And it sounds like you're investing wisely. And I appreciate you investing your time with us today and giving us pearls of wisdom and things to think about, and a book to go buy on Amazon. I'm sure you can get it on Amazon. And then
we're at the library.
Tara Brach's teachings,
or at the library, if people,
or at the library for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just want to, again, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure to talk to you on and off the podcast. And I know I'll be talking with you tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us. This is To Your Greatness with Dawn Mathis. I am Dawn Mathis, and thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next time.